So it is now mid-October and Nintendo has still not dropped an official announcement or reveal for the Nintendo Switch 2. And I've been following Nintendo Switch 2 rumors and leaks fairly casually, but also consistently for the past few months specifically. Like usually when a leak happens, I'll probably find out about it maybe 24 to 48 hours after it initially comes out. And it's now at the point where so much has leaked about this system that we pretty much know exactly what it's going to look like before it's even been officially announced. And despite this, Nintendo is still happy to just do nothing, which is well within their rights to do. They've got their own plans for when they're going to announce this thing, but I think particularly when all of the design leaks came out a few weeks ago, the community was pretty confident that Nintendo was going to get ahead of this and reveal the system very shortly after that, and there were also a couple of rumors about a trailer shoot happening as well, so all of the stars really did seem to be aligning for Nintendo to officially reveal the Nintendo Switch 2, well, by now, and it just hasn't happened. And because of this, it's now starting to look ever more likely that Nintendo will delay the announcement or the reveal of this system until next year, because if Nintendo were to reveal this now or in the next few weeks, that really is starting to encroach on the Christmas period, and it could genuinely impact the Nintendo Switch sales during that time. So there is actually a lot of sense now in Nintendo not revealing this thing until 2025, which of course for us fans sucks, but I now think it makes sense, and I believe it's probably the most likely outcome at this stage, which is a little bit sad, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. We'll all be okay. Anyways, I'm really happy to be sitting down and recording this video right now because the Nintendo Switch 2 has been a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for the longest time, but I was honestly just waiting for that official reveal to drop before doing that, and now that it's looking ever more unlikely that this will drop soon, I figured I'll just record this video now because there's a lot I want to talk about, and the first thing is the design of the system. So for those of you who don't know, the Nintendo Switch 2 is looking like it's going to stay very true to the core concept of the Nintendo Switch. And what I mean by that is that the system will remain hybrid in nature, in that it can be played both docked on a TV and in handheld mode, and it will also retain detachable controllers, aka Joy-Cons, similarly to the current Switch. I guess the main differences we know of now are that the Switch 2 is rumored to be a lot larger than the current Switch model. The Joy-Cons are rumored to attach magnetically instead of sliding onto the system, and then there's a few design changes in the dock itself, and I think the stand on the back of the system will also look slightly different, but those are pretty minor cosmetic changes in the grand scheme of things. So all in all, the Switch 2 is pretty much looking to be a more powerful version of the current Switch, and I guess if you're looking for a comparison, the Switch 2 will pretty much be what the Super Nintendo Entertainment System was to the original NES. It stays true to the core design, but just makes it more powerful and adds a few quality of life improvements that will make the overall system just better to use. And this whole design philosophy for the Nintendo Switch 2 has in a lot of ways divided the community, because on one side, people are very happy that Nintendo is staying true to a console that was very successful and had a genuine purpose in the market, but then on the other hand, there's the people that are saying Nintendo's key to success is innovation and introducing new ideas that no one has ever thought of before, and it's looking like right now that the Switch 2 isn't really going to have that new gimmick to really set itself apart. And I do see both sides of the story. I think they're both very valid arguments to make. However, I personally am really happy that the Switch 2 is looking like it's going to retain the core concept of the Switch. I think Nintendo really did hit the ball out of the park with the Switch, and it would honestly be foolish to just drop that idea and move on to something else so fast. I obviously do agree that Nintendo does need to innovate in the future, but for now, it just makes complete sense to keep the Nintendo Switch systems alive because obviously there's a massive demand for it, and it genuinely does fill a massive niche in the gaming market that I don't think any competitors have really truly been able to match yet. So from a business sense, it makes sense to do this, and for us consumers, I also think it's a net positive for us as well, because if Nintendo decided to go out there and do something else wacky, who knows, it could be another Wii U situation that would be stuck in for another 7 or 8 years. So I'm personally completely okay with the Switch 2 just being a bigger, better, more improved Nintendo Switch. But I would definitely love to know what you guys have to say about this as well, so let me know in the comments down below if you agree with this, or if you're sitting on the other side of the fence and would prefer a completely new idea for Nintendo's next generation of systems. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the launch titles for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I actually have already made a video on this very topic, which is available on my channel. I think I uploaded that in like March of this year, but I was looking back on that video earlier today, and the quality of my content has honestly improved so much since I made that video that I'm pretty inclined to kind of redo it in this video and just go over my final predictions for the launch titles for the Nintendo Switch 2. And I genuinely believe that this system has the potential to have the best launch lineup of games ever in Nintendo's history, and I'm not just saying that to build hype or anything like that. I just think that there's so many key Nintendo franchises that are actually really due for the next entry, and it just makes sense for them to be the launch titles for the Nintendo Switch 2. So these are my predictions for the Switch 2's launch titles. So firstly, we have Mario Kart 9, and this is possibly the most obvious choice for a Nintendo Switch 2 launch title, and I believe that to be the case for two key reasons. Firstly, the Mario Kart franchise is obviously very popular and is by default a system seller. If the Switch 2 launched with a brand new Mario Kart title, I believe that would drive so many people to purchase the system at launch, and for that reason, it's pretty appealing for Nintendo to consider releasing that as a launch title. And secondly, as I'm sure a lot of you watching this are already aware, we haven't received a new Mario Kart game in over 10 years at this point. Like, I guess there is a little bit of an argument that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is its own game, but in truth, it really is just Mario Kart 8, but a deluxe version, so I don't consider that to be its own true new entry into the franchise, and I just think it really is time for Nintendo to come up with some new ideas and innovations for Mario Kart and implement that into a brand new game. Secondly, we've got Metroid Prime 4, and yes, I'm aware that this has been announced in Nintendo's last Direct to be releasing on the Nintendo Switch, but I still believe that this game will come out cross-platform on both the Nintendo Switch 2 and the Nintendo Switch. The timing really does just seem to be right for that to happen, because it's my understanding that Metroid Prime 4 is set to launch early next year, which is sounding like around the time the Nintendo Switch 2 may also be dropping as well. So I think this game is in a position to get the same treatment that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild got and launch on both systems at the same time. Next up, we've got a new 3D Mario game, and this makes the list for pretty much the exact same reasons as Mario Kart 9 did, and that is firstly, because a 3D Mario game would simply just be a system seller. We literally just saw it with Super Mario Odyssey and the Nintendo Switch. And secondly, we haven't received a new 3D Mario game, obviously, since 2017, so I think this is another franchise that is due for a new game and would pretty much be perfectly aligned to be a launch title for the Switch 2. And just with these three games, I feel like we've already got what we need for an amazing Switch 2 launch lineup. I also think there will be some kind of pack-in title at launch as well, whether that be a Switch Sports successor or some kind of game like Nintendo Land, I cannot say, but those kinds of games have pretty much become a staple with Nintendo's console releases ever since Wii Sports came out for the Wii, so I think something like that makes sense as well. And other than that, there may be a few other games that are just random third-party titles that could also be available at launch, but I think with the games I've gone through now, those are the key Nintendo developed and published games that are looking likely to be launch titles for the Switch 2. Anyways, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that down below, and with that, that is pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys with another video next time. Bye bye.